Hello, grade 7 students. Here is summary 5 for week 5, and in this video we will solve worksheet 1, semester 1, which is required for the QP that will be done next week. And the topics covered are food diets, feeding behavior, recognition of food, and consumption of food. The concepts covered in this worksheet are: food diet is the food that an animal consumes during a certain period of time. Feeding behaviors are the actions taken by an animal toward obtaining its food. Different animals use different senses and sense organs to recognize their food. Let's start solving question 1. Indicate the true statements and correct the false ones. An animal's food diet remains the same throughout the year. False, animals' food diet changes throughout the year. Carnivores harvest their food while herbivores capture their food. False, herbivores harvest their food while carnivores capture their food. Okay, so we use harvest for herbivores, capture or catch for carnivores. Ants recognize their food by touching and smelling it using their nostrils. False. They use their antenna. So, ants recognize their food by touching and smelling it using their antenna. Senses are organs that animals use to recognize their food. False, sense organs are organs that animals use to recognize their food. Question 2. Give the correct term for each definition. The food that an animal consumes over a certain period of time is known as food diet. An animal that feeds on food of animal and plant origin is known as omnivore. An animal killed and eaten by a predator is the prey. The actions taken by an animal toward obtaining its food, this is feeding behaviors. The tool used by an animal to capture or harvest its food, it's known as capturing tool or harvesting tool, if they are carnivores or herbivores. Question 3. Frog's life cycle. Tadpoles are young frogs that metamorphose into adults within a few days. During the first days of its life, a tadpole eats aquatic plants. When a tadpole is just a few weeks old, it consumes aquatic plants as well as small prey. In its adult stage, a frog consumes insects. The tongue of frogs is extensible and viscous, allowing them to capture the prey. Refer to the text and to your acquired knowledge to complete the table. Okay, we have this table. We have to fill in the age of the frog, the food, the origin of food, and the food diet. When the age of frog is a few days, its food is aquatic plants, and the origin of food is plant origin, as you know. Food diet, it is herbivore. If it is feeding on plants, so it's herbivore. When the age of frog is few weeks, the food is aquatic plants and small prey, as mentioned in the text. So the food origin is plant and animal origin, and the food diet here is omnivore. However, when the age of the frog, when the frog turns into an adult, it started to eat insects. So the food is insects. The origin of food is animal origin, and the food diet is carnivore. Indicate the factor that changes the food diet of the frog. Here the factor is the age, and it is indicate, so we don't justify, just mention the answer. Give the name of the tool used by the adult frog to seize its food. Indicate if it's a capturing or harvesting tool. So the tool is the seizing tool here, it's the tongue. And since the adult frog in this stage, it is a carnivore, so it captures the food, so it's a capturing tool. Part B, adult frogs feeding behavior. As a predator, the adult frog feeds mainly on insects. Seeing an insect nearby, a frog follows its movements. As soon as the insect stops moving, the frog approaches its prey slowly with little jumps, relying mostly on its long hind legs. When near its prey, it suddenly projects its sticky tongue to capture it. Lastly, the frog withdraws its tongue and consumes the insect. Identify the food diet of adult frogs. So identify, we have to start with the justification, then answer. So since adult frogs feed on food of animal origin like insects, so they are carnivores. This is the way we answer this question. Give the sense and the sense organ used by the frog to recognize its food. They say seeing an insect, so the sense is sight or vision, and the sense organs are the eyes. List in proper order the steps of feeding behavior of the frogs. First, the frog spots the prey. Then, it follows the insect's movements. The frog approaches its prey slowly with little jumps. Just pick them from the text. When near its prey, it suddenly projects its sticky tongue to capture it. The frog withdraws its tongue and consumes the insect. Question 4. Snails are small animals that feed on small leaves using grasping teeth. The following experiment is done to identify the feeding behavior of the snails. Pick out the objective of the experiment. As mentioned, the objective is to identify the feeding behavior of the snails. Okay. Formulate a hypothesis concerning the sense used by the snails to recognize their food. We have to write hypothesis first. Don't forget to write hypothesis. Snails recognize their food using their smelling sense. You can write any sense you think it's correct. Okay? So answers may vary here. Analyze the experimental results. Let me explain what did they do. They placed 4 snails in the middle between 2 cabbage leaves. One of these leaves is wrapped in a transparent plastic bag and the other one is unwrapped leaf. Okay? They noticed after 15 minutes that the snails were attracted to the unwrapped cabbage leaf. Okay, so how do we analyze here? We have to mention the variable, the experiment, what did they do, and the result. So we have to say, when 4 snails were placed between 2 cabbage leaves with 1 leaf wrapped in a transparent plastic bag and 1 leaf unwrapped, the snails moved toward the unwrapped leaf after 15 minutes. Or you can start from the result if you want, okay? Conclude the sense used by the snail to recognize the leaf. Okay, so as you see here, the sense used is the smelling sense. Since the leaf in the transparent bag, they can see both of them. The snails can see both leaves and it's attracted to the unwrapped one. So the sense used here is the sense of smelling. We conclude that snails recognize their food using their smelling sense. Classify the snails according to its food diet. Snails are herbivorous animals. Snails are herbivores. So that's all about this worksheet. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.